The online presence of data permanently raises new questions regarding the right to privacy and how artificial intelligence might use it. Every individual has a right to guard her data, and if the courts were not to enforce this right, then the right to privacy itself would be a hollow promise. It is about individual dignity and personal autonomy. It is the bedrock of your freedoms. Can a citizen claim the right to be forgotten at all, and particularly in our constitutional setup? In a world where we are all striving to make a mark, to be remembered by everyone, to be known for something, is there anything called a right to be forgotten? At a time when social media has become the showcase for our personal life and the so-called talents, where hundreds of people have access to our day-to-day happenings, our emotions, our events, our lives, can a citizen claim the right to be forgotten at all? And particularly in our constitutional setup. Hypothetically, suppose you are involved in a brawl a few years ago, and that petty offense against you is today adversely impacting your job prospects. Why? Because content regarding that brawl is available on the internet. It is cited each time you approach an employer, or it brings disrepute to you every time you apply for something. Why? Because of the undue media attention. Can you move to court and seek a right to be forgotten in the form that you can have this information erased from the memory of the internet? Illustratively again, let's assume an ugly marital discord has ended in a settlement and you have separated, but nonetheless, digital records are still being used against you every time you are actually posturing for something or you are putting up some information in public domain. Again, is there a right to be forgotten? The online presence of data permanently raises new questions regarding the right to privacy and how artificial intelligence might use it. What are the circumstances in which you can invoke and enforce the right to be forgotten? And what can the courts do in this regard? There is a public interest element to it, and there is a private interest as well. The right to be forgotten stems from the right to privacy, which is a fundamental right today. Privacy, contrary to general perception, is not about secrecy. Neither does privacy require events to occur behind closed doors, nor do you lose privacy because the events have occurred in public domain. In other words, you do not lose your right to privacy when you step out into the streets. It is a right in continuum that you can enforce against individuals and institutions alike. Privacy in this country is not predicated on secrecy, but on dignity. The right to life and the right to dignity takes along with it the right to privacy. It is about individual dignity and personal autonomy. It is the bedrock of your freedoms. Your sexual preferences, your beliefs, your faith, your ideas can all form a part of this larger contour within the right to privacy. An individual constantly decides whether she wants to share any of that with another individual or a group, or would she want to share it at the world at large. For example, if you share your mobile number with a group of friends, you do not confer upon them the right or authority for them to share that with the world at large. Every individual has a right to guard her data, and if the courts were not to enforce this right, then the right to privacy itself would be a hollow promise. Now, with privacy at its heart, the right to be forgotten is a conscious choice that an individual exercises when they dynamically exist in this world and dynamically share without compromising information in particular silos. The concept of autonomy plays a key role in this dynamic. One key circumstance which the court can order for enforcement of right to be forgotten is when there is no overriding public interest that your information should be available in public domain. So while there might be a legitimate public interest in knowing the details of a politician or specific aspects of his life in certain circumstances, the same will not be true for any other individual who is not in public life.